Project Looking Glass is usually talked about like this: a machine that could see the future, timelines branching, certain outcomes becoming locked, others collapsing when observed too directly. But here's a reframe that actually matters. It was never about predicting the future. It was about which timelines remain accessible once a conscious observer engages with them. And you don't need a classified device to do this. You're already doing it every day. So why is there no future to see? Because physics already solved this part. There is no flowing time, no moving present, no future being generated. Einstein showed us that all moments exist simultaneously. Quantum physics adds the uncomfortable part. Nothing is created. Nothing is destroyed. All possible states already exist. So what we call the future isn't something that happens. It's something that gets experienced. And experience is selective. So what was Project Looking Glass really observing? If you strip away the mythology, Project Looking Glass describes something very specific. When a system observes a possible future too directly, it becomes unstable, not because observation creates it, but because observation collapses flexibility. In other words, the more you try to see a future, the more you freeze your position outside of it. This is the same reason people who obsessively plan, visualize, or monitor outcomes often feel stuck. They aren't moving toward a timeline. They're anchoring themselves in the observer position instead of the participant state. Let's discuss the brain as the looking glass. Here's the part no one talks about. The looking glass wasn't special because it showed timelines. Your brain already does that. The brain is not a creator. It's a filter and rendering engine. Without it, consciousness would experience infinite geometry, all states, all timelines, all relations at once. That would be unlivable. So the brain collapses reality into continuity, causality, identity, and story. This is the simulation layer, and it doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you're calibrated to experience. Let's discuss why watching a future can prevent it. Here's the Project Looking Glass paradox applied to real life. When you repeatedly observe a future from outside it, you train your nervous system to experience waiting instead of being. Your internal dialogue may sound like, is it here yet? Am I on the right timeline? What if it doesn't happen? That internal state is not neutral. It's a coordinate. And the simulation keeps rendering the coordinate you're broadcasting, not the one you're watching. This is why some futures collapse the more they're anticipated. You didn't ruin them. You stood in the wrong position. Let's now talk about how to use this deliberately. This is how you do Project Looking Glass internally. No machines, no prophecy, no future watching, only calibration. First off, stop using time language. Anytime you think, when will this happen? How do I get there? What's coming? Say internally, there is no later. Then exhale slowly. You're stepping out of the observer tower. Next, identify the state, not the event. Do not choose a future outcome. Choose the internal state that exists inside the version of you where it's already normal. Examples of this would be calm certainty, financial steadiness, relaxed authority, quiet confidence, and unforced momentum. These states already exist in the multiverse. You're not creating them. You're simply tuning into them. And the next step is sample. Don't stare. This is critical. You do not visualize a movie. You do not imagine a scene. You briefly sample the experience like data. Ask yourself, what would my body feel like if this were familiar? What would not feel urgent anymore? What small behavior would feel obvious? Then let the answers arise without effort. 20 to 30 seconds. No excitement. No hope. No anticipation. Neutral familiarity is the key. Let's talk about the last step. So, exit without checking. And this is where most people break it. Do not look for confirmation. Don't ask if it worked. Don't track progress. Because tracking reactivates time, and time reactivates separation. You leave the state the way you leave a room, quietly. So let's break down what actually shifts. You didn't move timelines. You recalibrated the filter. The brain updates its predictions based on what feels safe, what feels repeatable, and what doesn't trigger survival monitoring. Once that changes, behavior changes automatically, perception changes automatically, and opportunities appear without effort. Not because the world changed, but because you're sampling a different slice of what already exists. Here's the truth beneath it all. The future doesn't collapse when you observe it. It collapses when you observe it from the wrong state. Observation from lack freezes lack. Observation from being stabilizes being. So there is no future to chase. There's no timeline to force. There's only a simulation responding to calibration. So stop trying to see what's coming. Instead ask, what state am I allowing my system to render right now? Because that question alone determines which version of reality you wake up inside. I know you will all continue to manifest magic and resonate on your most aligned frequency.